Alrighty, ho, ho, ho. I am excited here to be doing our last Christmas in July chat. Still trying to get things to work here on Instagram. We're live on Facebook with my gang. So hopefully any second here, and there we are. Now we're live everywhere. And I'm very excited to be hanging out with you all today. This is going to be a lot of fun as we talk about getting ready for the holidays with various treats and goodies. And we're going to be talking about, oopsie, live stream. Are we having issues? Are your comments? Oh, okay. I thought I'd messed up. That would have been a first because I haven't messed up in a while. Still waiting to see if any of my gang shows up to make sure I did this properly. There should be somebody arriving, I would hope, any minute, guys. Anyway, I'm happy to be doing this. And here we go. Now I always know we're live when some of the gang shows up. Hi, Diane. Thanks for coming from New Jersey. Appreciate it. Sadly, my friend Mary, who some of you might remember, she was on, I don't know, about a year ago and talking about stocking our pantries and things we need. And she was going to join me today, and we're going to talk specifically about stocking the pantry for Christmas. And sadly, Mary is having some issues and said, I can't talk without coughing. They thought she had bronchitis. Now, the suspicion is emphysema. And so I want to take a minute, first of all, to give a shout out. Mary actually did share some of her tips for stocking the pantry for when it comes time for Christmas. I'll have those to share, but I wanted to give a shout out to Mary and let her know we'll be with you and you'll be with us in spirit, Mary. And also just a PSA, guys, just a reminder for those of us, it would appear, I asked her, I said, did you smoke? Were you ever a smoker? I didn't think she was. It's like, no, but my dad was. He smoked in the house. He smoked in the car. He smoked everywhere. And as a child, she was inhaling all that smoke. So our PSA, guys, for those of you, I am assuming that most everybody here is no longer smoking or has never smoked. But if you are a smoker, please step outside to do that. Do not smoke around your children, because right now Mary is dealing with the side effects of something that happened way back when she's a child, and now as an adult this has caught up with her. So she can't be with us except for in spirit today. And like I said, she's shared some of her fabulous tips for how to stock our pantry for the holidays. But I'm very sorry she can't be here. And hi to everybody who's joining us now. I see Frances has arrived and Eileen is here. Yes, prayers for Mary. That would be much appreciated. Let's see. Patricia's here from New Hampshire. Slowly but surely, we are all coming in. Palermo are here. So thanks all. This is going to be a fun one. And again, I'm sorry that Mary is only going to be with us in spirit. She would love to have been here if she wasn't having so much trouble with her lungs. So that's kind of sad. South Carolina has arrived. Hi, everybody. So our last Christmas in July conversation here for 2026. This is it. One more little Christmas in July giveaway. For those of you, if anybody has not read the first book in the Moonlight series here, welcome to Moonlight Harbor. Let me know. This is so funny. It's actually, I somehow at some point signed it, Merry Christmas. So it's already signed for Christmas in July. If you would like a copy of that, if you know somebody who might like a copy of that you'd like to share with, be sure and post and let me know if that's something you'd like. And we're going to draw a name, of course, tonight. And hopefully I can even get organized enough to get my winner's name and address and get that off with Gerhard when he goes to the post office tomorrow. So we will see. Anyway, so let's get on with it. Let's get on with our fun. A little Sheila in the kitchen of Sheila Crockpot has been doing a lot of holiday testing of recipes because as many of you know who've been to my book signings or are on my street team, we always do a special laminated recipe card that goes with whatever the books that is coming out. And I think the one for this year is going to be peppermint popcorn. And even if you are not on the street team or can't make it to any of the local things, I'm actually going to share that recipe with you here in just a minute. By the way, I won't be doing too many appearances, local or otherwise. I'm not going to be able to fly in time for when the book comes out, which is makes me sad. In fact, if I was really organized, I'd have had the ARC ready here to show you with the book cover. Well, have yourself a merry little meltdown. That's going to be a very fun holiday read. But I will be giving away recipe cards. I'm going to be doing only two things. One thing in Ocean Shores, aka Moonlight Harbor, and then something in Paulsbo. I wrote down the date so I wouldn't forget. Where is it? November 19th at 7 p.m. at the Jewel Box Theater in Paulsbo, Washington, with my friend Debbie Maycomber. And we're going to be talking about getting ready for the holidays. So that will be just very, very fun. So anyway, that's the deal. So I can't talk today. Peppermint popcorn. Here, can you see my little sample of this? This is so fun. It's so easy to make. You want 8 cups of popped popcorn. Make sure I've got this all right. And then you're going to melt in your microwave in 30-second increments. Candy melts, vanilla candy melts. And this is an 8-ounce bag. If you want to make more, obviously you would be doubling the recipe or getting a bigger bag. So you're going to do that. You're going to melt that little by little till it's all nice and smooth. Then you're going to mix that in with your popped popcorn, and you're going to put in about a cup worth of crushed peppermint. Just sprinkle that all, mix it all up, and you spread it out on a cookie sheet to dry. It doesn't take long. Just sit it out there at room temperature for the candy melts to harden up, and you will be good to go. And by the way, I was going to use, I had extra peppermint, crushed peppermint that I was going to use to making some fancy shortbread cookies to take to a few nearby bookstores here. And I'm going to frost those with some frosting and sprinkle on crushed peppermint. Well, so I set it aside. Can you see it? It rehardened. Peppermint rehardens. It hardens into a big lump. I don't know if I can get it out of this bowl. I'm going to see if Gerhardt can manage that and save my bowl. Otherwise, the whole thing is going to get trashed. So the moral of that little story is, if you're doing something with crushed peppermint and going to do it for more than one thing, do it right away. Because if you let that sit overnight, you will have a peppermint rock. I have a peppermint boulder in this little bowl. So much for that. Anyway, so there's your peppermint popcorn. And the other thing I am going to, so I will be frosting my fancy shortbread I made tomorrow and recrushing. Fortunately, I still have some peppermint left from last year. This stuff lasts forever, guys, so it's okay to stock up ahead of time. I'm going to crush that and put that on my frosting. Mary's saying, boil in boiling water will help. Oh, yeah, but will it stay crushed? Is it going to melt? Is it, you guys, is this good if I put this like in, I don't know, I would like to turn it back into crushed peppermint. Is there, anybody got an idea for how to do that? You could put it in a baggie. Oh, that's true. I could dump it in my blender and recrush it too, but first I have to figure out how to pry it out of the bowl. Maybe set it inside of the pan of boiling water. Anyway, guys, so I'm just like a walking morality tale. Don't do this. Don't do that with your crushed pepper. Anyway, but in shortbread, though, it's so fun and so easy to dress up for the holidays. And I know I bet all of you out there make shortbread, right? I'm assuming you all make shortbread. Raise your hand, say, I make shortbread, I make shortbread. Anyway, I'll share with you my little recipe for those of you who don't. It's so easy to make, and then you can dress it up for the holidays. So the original recipe, this is in my grandma's handwriting, Mrs. Tate's shortbread. She was a little lady from Scotland who went to our church. And according to Mrs. Tate, you want 4 cups of flour, 3/4 cup sugar, and a 1/2 cup butter. And that's all there is to this. And you mix this up. And then if it's a little dry, add more butter. Well, I finally got smart. I'm going, realistically, if you put in about 3 cups of flour to your butter, that works about right. 1/2 pound of butter, as in 2 butter cubes, and 3 cups of flour, and your sugar, and that turns out to be just about the right consistency. And just work it, knead it, and I put that in 3 little circles on my cookie sheet so that I can divide them up. Then I do that, divide it up into wedges, and that gives me a good yield of shortbread. Always remember to poke your shortbread with your fork because it needs that. So then you bake that. Everybody's oven is so different. I bake it at 350. I always start out like at 12 or 15 minutes and then check. Like my mother used to say, with certain ingredients, you can always add more. It's the same thing when you're doing things in your oven. You can always cook it a little longer, but once it's burned and overdone, it's too late. So I always start out a little bit easy and then go from there. So that's your fabulous tip on shortbread. Hi to all of you who have just joined us. I see some of our, oh, I see Heather has joined us. Thanks. Good to see some of my Insta people here. I'm glad. And Vicki has come in. I see Vicki has arrived. Carolyn has arrived. Patricia's here. Eileen. Glad you guys could join me today. And again, I'm sorry that my friend Mary was not able to join us. Mary, we miss you. It's not the same doing this solo without you, but I'm trying my best to carry on. So, things that I think you want in your pantry for when the holidays come around. I think it's always good to have some things on hand. And here are some of mine. One of my top ones, actually, I make my brownies from scratch. I'm not a fan of brownies made from mix. There's something off in the taste of mixed brownies. I think I'm the only one who ever notices that, though. You guys might not. If you love brownie mix, you're great. Keep that in your pantry. Have that on hand because brownies are so fast. You can make these things up and you can dress them up for the holidays with just some frosting, the good old butter icing, butter and powdered sugar, and put a little bit of green food coloring in there and some peppermint, and you have got brownies for Christmas that are just really fast and easy to make. So it's nice to have that on hand. And again, sometimes really it doesn't take that much longer to make something from scratch. But if you're going to cook from scratch, then obviously you want to have your chocolate on hand that you're going to be using. Make sure you've stocked up. And oh my gosh, have you guys noticed how expensive chocolate is right now? Good honk. It's like gold. It must not have been a good year for the cacao plants because chocolate is through the ceiling. If you happen to see it on sale now, get it. It'll keep in your fridge. And so I say with butters, butter, you guys all probably know this, but butter freezes just fine. Stock up. May says, make brownie mix and store in the pantry. Oh, good idea. Make your own brownie mix. Yeah, put everything in except for the chocolate and the eggs, right? Good suggestion from May. That's a good idea. Then you have that nice homemade taste. Okay, Eileen says she uses Duncan Hines for her brownies. So I haven't tried many of the mixes, but anytime somebody, I made brownies and I try one, I can just tell it's made from a mix. So maybe I'm a brownie snob. I don't know. But anyway, Francis says I bought 10 Milky Ways and I could have bought 2 pieces of salmon. Oh, I'd have picked the Milky Ways too. I gotta say, Francis. That's just funny. Anyway, so here are some of my other things that I think I want to have in my pantry to have on hand for when the holidays come calling, which you guys is going to come sooner than we think. Oh my gosh, I can't believe how fast this year is going. I like to have on hand, in addition to my homemade brownie mix, I want to have, I already have be ready for my frosting, so I'll make sure I have my food colorings all done and ready to go. Mint M&Ms. Sometimes those are hard to find in the store, but you can find them online. And those are so fun. You can put them in your chocolate chip cookies. You can sprinkle them on ice cream. You can throw them in with your peppermint popcorn. You can do all kinds of things with mint M&Ms. And so I think those are really fun to have on hand. Another thing I like to have on hand, just have a chocolate pudding mix. This goes great in a pie. And for those of you who are not big on pie crust, then, have your frozen pie crust in the freezer. And you can make them you can use a truffle. You can use that with pound cake from the freezer. Hope you guys have big freezers because I'm sure putting a lot of stuff in them, aren't I? Oh my gosh. And you can just plain old make a pudding mix with a little bit of peppermint in it and some cream on top. And that's just really good too. So it's nice to just have a package on hand, especially if you think you're going to have maybe last minute company for dinner, or you're just not in the mood to do a fancy dessert. Boy, you make that instant pudding, sprinkle some M&Ms and some whipped cream on top, and there you go. Ho, 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 you're good to go. Another thing I really like to have in the freezer is puff pastry. I still have phyllo dough fitting in my freezer that I think I bought by mistake once. I've got to figure out something to do with that. But puff pastry is a must because it's so handy for when you want to do a fast and easy appetizer for a party. I'm sure a lot of you have done this, where you take the small wheel of brie cheese and you set that in the middle of your puff pastry, and on top of that you spread some apricot jam, and sprinkle some sliced almonds, and then you fold the puff pastry over there and bake that in your oven. I can't remember how long. I think it's for 400 degrees for 20 minutes or something. You can probably look it up online, but that makes a really great appetizer served with some crackers. So of course you want crackers in your freezer too, because even if you can't think of anything else, cheese and crackers. Everybody loves cheese and crackers. Can't go wrong with that. I'm trying to make sure I'm keeping track. Somebody said, did I see the word graham crackers? Because yes, that's another one I think. Oh yeah, graham cracker crust. That's good to have on hand too. Then you don't have to do a pie crust. You're ready to go. I'm a big believer in keeping graham crackers on hand. I don't know about you guys, but somehow I always end up with extra frosting when I'm doing my sugar cookies. And boy, that's just handy to stick in between a couple of graham crackers. Kids love it. Joanne says, Google one bowl brownies and use that recipe. Oh, I love that. Oh, that's great. Thank you for sharing that tip. That's a really good one. It is nice when you can have homemade and have that mix on hand and ready to go. That's a great tip. Thank you for sharing. And I see a couple more of our Insta gang has joined us. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us here. Heather says those little butter pretzels shaped like a grid. Oh, yes, the Snyders. They are perfect to stack up on dipped in chocolate are perfect quick snacks. Stack them up and dip them in chocolate. Okay, those are the ones also. I'm sure you guys have seen that around. Make sure that your Hershey's Peppermint Kisses are fresh, but you can stack one of those on top of the little pretzel, and you just put that in your oven long enough to warm up at a low temperature to get it slightly melted. So you've got the Hershey's white chocolate on top of your little pretzel, and then when it comes out, you just pop an M&M on the top and press it down, and that hardens. And oh my gosh, that is a fun little tasty treat to have on hand or take to a party also. So those are good things to have on hand. Pretzels are always a kind of a good thing to have on hand in your cupboard. So those things. Sweetened condensed milk. You guys, some of you probably know that I've just become completely addicted to this no-churn ice cream, and it is so easy to make. All you need is some heavy whipping cream. You whip up 2 cups of that till it's soft peaks, not totally, but till it's peaked. Then you add in your sweetened condensed milk, fold that in, add a little vanilla. You put that in a large loaf pan in your freezer for a couple hours, and you've got ice cream that tastes like the old-fashioned custard ice cream that we would slave over a hot stove and have to mess with in the ice cream thingy-dingy. There's a good term, thingy-dingy. And this is so easy to do. And if you've got those 2 things on hand, especially the sweetened condensed milk, you can turn that into your chocolate chip mint ice cream with some chocolate chips and some peppermint instead of vanilla. So it's just really easy to make. Cindy says, I'm gaining weight just thinking about these treats. I know, they're all so good. I'm making me hungry too, you guys. I haven't had dinner yet. Oh my goodness. But so I'm a big believer in having some sweetened condensed milk on hand. Also, those layer cookies. I think if you were visiting with me with Rayanne, she talked about those layer ones where you've got the graham cracker crumbs and coconut and chocolate chips, and you end up pouring sweetened condensed milk over that. So it's a really good thing to have on hand in your cupboard. It comes in really handy for all kinds of things. Also, if you make that chocolate mint ice cream, boy, serve that with some hot fudge sauce and some whipped cream, and you have got the best sundae on the planet. Oh my gosh, that just makes such a great ice cream sundae. Amanda has made it in from Massachusetts. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, magic cookie bars. That's what Rayanne called them. And I think a lot of us have made those over the years. Those are easy and fast to make. So coconut, that's if you happen to, a lot of people don't like coconut. I was always surprised to hear that. But if you happen to like coconut and like to use it and thing, that's another good thing to have on hand in your pantry. And some of these things that really will keep a long time, I suggest just kind of start stocking up in August and September and October, and then you won't break the piggy bank when it's time to start doing all that holiday baking early in December. So is there anything else? I think those are my must-haves. So now we'll get to Mary's. Mary, again, I wish you could be with us. I'm sorry that this horrible thing has caught up with you, and but we are going to appreciate what you've shared here. And maybe I'll even be able to wrangle a few recipes out of Mary to share as the year goes on. So anyway, to have on hand, according to Mary, of course, for baking, you're going to want your flour and your sugars and butter. By the way, I know you all know this too, but for anybody who doesn't, here's your reminder. Butter freezes just fine. So if you see it on sale, stock up, stock up, stock up. Yeah, you definitely want to stock up on that. Oh, that's another thing before I forget. No, I think I mentioned it later. Never mind. Moving on in my notes. All right, so here are Mary's things that she thinks that we should be having in our pantry. First of all, she says good quality chocolate chips. And I agree with that. I love Ghirardelli. As some of you know, if you've been following me on Instagram, I'm just totally into making chocolate bark these days. I have made white chocolate bark with lavender in it that is so good. Oh my gosh. And I also did a dark chocolate with dried cherries. And oh my gosh, that was so tasty. And I used a big Ghirardelli. I mean, I know it will turn out. The chocolate chips and a little bit of coconut oil and melt that, spread it out on your sheet that's covered with parchment paper. I use tin foil because I've always worried the parchment will stick. But I land my little cookie sheet with a rim with my tin foil and pour in that bark and then stick it in the fridge, and it hardens up quite quickly and beautifully. So if you've got those chocolate chips on hand, that's a pretty fast candy you can make if you're going to a party or you just need something in a hurry. I see Tamara has joined us. Glad you could come. Coming in late, but late is better than not. Promise you cookie recipes and haven't forgot. Okay, I'm going to hold you to that, Tamara. Anyway, so that's number one for Mary for our pantries. Another one she suggests is fresh nuts. She said you want them fresh for roasting because they just turn out so much better if they're fresh. So fresh nuts for roasting. And let's see what else is on here. Dried cranberries. They make a beautiful addition to white chocolates. And I'm big on, I say dried cherries also. Lately, you never used to be able to find this, but dried cherries, I have now found them in my local Winco and my local Walmart. And oh my gosh, those dried cherries in that chocolate bark I made, that was just so good. I'm going to make an attempt to do a milk chocolate bark because the one that I made, if you like dark chocolate, well, that was really good. I got the 74% cacao or whatever it was. And that was almost a little too dark for me. But your chocolate of choice and chocolate bark are so easy to make, especially when you have all the ingredients kicking around. All right, so what have we got here? What else does she say? Candy canes or large peppermint sticks for crushing to make peppermint bark. And again, crush as you need it, so you don't end up with the big peppermint blop. You can't save leftovers of crushed peppermint. I know that now from personal experience. Don't do that. All right, Mary's other suggestion, raisins for making chocolate-covered raisins. Oh, doesn't that sound good? Yum. And relatively good for you, especially if you're using the semi-sweet chocolate. Also, she recommends having peanut or almond butter on hand for making nut butter balls. That sounds good. I am so getting some of these recipes from Mary, I gotta say. Oh my goodness. Fun sprinkles to make covered pretzels look fancy. How many of you out there do those covered pretzels? Has anybody done the pretzels? Do you dip them, or how do you do those? I would love to know if somebody actually does those. Lisa says Ghirardelli white chocolate chips don't taste waxy. You're right, they don't. They're fabulous. I'm really sold on Ghirardelli for if you're using it for that kind of thing. So anyways, somebody let me know with the pretzels if you have a special way to make those, or if you have access to a fabulous recipe, let us know. So what else does Mary say? Oh yeah, coating or dipping bark for either white or chocolate, and wax or parchment paper for when you're making your dipped or bark covered Christmas treats. Yes, it's really important to have something that's easy to get it off. And again, like I said, parchment paper, I use that when I'm making my black bean brownies, but it curls, it does not hold the way you want it to. And so I am a fan of using tinfoil because it's very easy to pour. I can get my chocolate bark off of it very easily, and it works really well for that. So I'm a big fan of that. I know though that parchment paper, a lot of people love using that. So I think that's, if that's kind of a personal preference thing, whatever you want to use. But those are Mary's suggestions for what we should have in our pantry. And of course, it's also good to just have anything, whatever you can stock up on that's dried. It's because, again, that comes in handy if there's a power outage, you've got something to snack on. Very, very important. And pretzels do keep a long time. So those are really good to have on hand for whatever. And let's see, Amanda says, I need, the black bean brownies. Yeah, that is such a good recipe. I thought at one point I had shared that. I might have just shared it in a recipe card. I will try and make a note to myself to share that in a future Super You newsletter for those of you who like that. Those are really good. The first time my friend Arlene made those, she said, I'm not going to tell you what's in them, because she knew I'd be just totally grossed out. And I ate them and oh my gosh, these are so good. What's in these? Black beans. Who knew? Oh, thank you. Joanne has posted the link for making chocolate covered, chocolate covered, where'd it go? Chocolate covered something. Chocolate covered, I can't read it, but thank you, Joanne, for sharing it. Hopefully everybody else, I'm trying to talk and read it at the same time, and that can be a challenge. Oh, Nicole, yep, it's 5 every time, guys. Live at 5 p.m. Pacific time. The good news is, if you're just coming in late, if you miss it, not a problem, because it stays up on Facebook for a while, and also it stays up indefinitely, forever, on my Sheila Roberts YouTube channel. So if you miss something here, don't worry, you can catch up and get some of this later on after the fact. So for those of you who have been with us, they've been commenting, again, our last Christmas in July giveaway, here it is. We're going to give away to somebody the first in the Moonlight Harbor series, and it's already signed with a Merry Christmas signature. So we will pick a name for that when we're off here and send that to some happy commenter. So I hope you'll give these things a try. Try the peppermint popcorn. This is really good. And again, this probably will be the recipe card I'm doing for this year for appearances. But if you can't make an appearance, or if you're not on the street team, well, then that way you can still try it. For those of you who came in late, I shared that at the beginning of our chat. So feel free to scroll back and you can get that recipe. And it's just really, it's very hard to stay out of. So I recommend eating it with friends, because if you eat it all by yourself, well, you probably will be sorry you ate all that by yourself. So make sure that you're going to be with friends when you make that. And yes, do try making the shortbread. It's so easy to make, and it's so easy to dress up for the holidays, as are so many of these treats. If you have got some of those things I mentioned on hand, or what Mary said, if you've got your colored sprinkles, if you've got your mint M&Ms, your pretzels and some of your chocolate chips for melting over things, you're good to go. And go ahead and buy some extra peppermint candies. You'll find ways to use them. So anyway, guys, this is a short one this time, partly because, again, it's just me by myself, because we're missing our sweetie Mary, and that's just sad, but I appreciate you all being here with me. And just a heads up, we will come September, it'll be a little iffy on the lives, because as some of you may know, I don't want to do this. I have to get knee surgery. I too many years playing tennis and volleyball and doing bad things to my knees, and now I've got to get knee replacement, which I'm so scared about. And I hope you guys will all send me lots of encouragement when it's time for that. That's going to be happening September 11th, and I have a feeling I'm either going to be in a bit of pain or loopy from medication. And so we probably, we'll be a little sketchy on September, but I'll try and make sure that you all know that I give you notice for when we're back on track with that. And meanwhile, get out there and start making your list of what you're going to stock your pantry with, and start slowly but surely stocking your pantry so that you won't go broke stocking and getting ready for all those fabulous Christmas treats we are going to make come December, right? So anyway, I'm glad that some of you could join me today. I really appreciate it. I hope you all have a great week, and happy end of Christmas in July. Hopefully we'll do it again next year.